Hello guys, I have read so many blogs and watched so many tutorials, and most of them claims that remote WebDriver is used to execute in remote machines like Sauce Lab or Browser Stack, or using grid concept you can run in multiple machines. Makes sense, and I totally agree. But the misconception is remote WebDriver must be used only for remote execution. That is not true. In this video, I am going to talk about WebDriver and remote WebDriver. Most of the time, everyone uses WebDriver, and the reason is to run in multiple browsers using the same driver reference. That is, by doing some downcasting. Absolutely fine, nothing wrong about it. But my question to them is, why WebDriver? Why not remote WebDriver? Let me give you an example here. I have an interface which is my WebDriver and it has a method of get. Consider that this is your WebDriver. Now also I have another class which is my ChromeDriver. Consider this as your ChromeDriver. Within this main method, I am going to call my WebDriver. Okay, that is I am going to create a reference for my WebDriver interface, right? So my WebDriver, and here I am going to name this as driver and equal to new my WebDriver. Now this is possible in Java. We can create an anonymous class here. Now here if you notice, it's giving us override because obviously whatever you are going to call from the interface, we have to override. That is, we have to write our logic here. Now here I'm just going to give you a sysout statement saying that the method name which is get, right? Now if I want to execute this method, here I can, using the same reference object that is my driver, I can call that get, right? Yes. Now if I execute this, so run as Java application, and here obviously I will get the answer. Nothing wrong about it. But the problem here is, let me show you. So if I go to the target folder and if I show in the system explorer, and within this folder, here we can see that it has also generated another file. This is my ChromeDriver $1, right? This file is actually is our this anonymous class. That means whenever you are going to create an anonymous class using the reference of your interface, then obviously it is going to consume your time as well as space. Okay, now let me give you another example. Okay, so most of the time we do not use this, but rather we prefer to use the implements, right? So let me do that. So here I'm going to say implements, and here I'm going to call my WebDriver. Okay, now as soon as I do that, obviously I will get an error saying that you have to implement. So I'm going to do the implementation, and here I'm going to write my sysout statement. That's it, fine. Now how do I call this? Obviously here I don't have main method, so I cannot call that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another class which is CallDriver. Now here we have to execute this, right? So what we are going to do this, like as usual we do WebDriver equal to new ChromeDriver, we are going to do the same thing here. Okay, so here my WebDriver driver equal to new that is my ChromeDriver, right? Yes. Now here I'm going to call driver dot get. Okay, this is possible by the downcasting. So we are downcasting our classes to the higher level interface, right? um, in general people used to do this because by using the same driver reference we can do multiple browsers, we can run multiple browsers using the same reference, right? Absolutely fine, nothing wrong about it. So if I going to execute this, it is also going to give me the same answer as we saw in the previous example, right? Nothing wrong about it. But if you know Java very well, then I can show you this example. Here it says that whenever you are going to access an interface, it's going to add an additional layer which can make your code slower. So obviously it is not going to affect if you have like few test cases, that is not going to give you that much effect. But generally we have so many test cases, for example let's say 1000 or 2000, then obviously it is going to decrease your performance. Okay, but in general, if you see, interface is preferred when there are no default implementation or state. That means if we don't have any implementation, at that point we can use the interface. But we have an implementation, right? We have RemoteWebDriver class, which is the supermost class in Selenium API. Now let me show you that. Okay, so here if I go within this parallel demo class, here I have this RemoteWebDriver, right? Now if I go into this, here you can see that it's implemented WebDriver. Now WebDriver is already extending our search context, right? So it's extending search context, which is the topmost layer in our Selenium framework, right? Now if you show you the hierarchy, so if I'm going to click on F4, which is going to bring the hierarchy for us. Now here you see all the other classes, ChromeDriver, Edge, Firefox, or any driver you take, it's going to extend the RemoteWebDriver. Now within the RemoteWebDriver, we know that it is going to implement our WebDriver as well. So why we have to use WebDriver? We can use the RemoteWebDriver directly, right? Now people generally think that RemoteWebDriver can be used only for remote execution. I agreed on that. I am not denying that. Okay, absolutely right. Fine. But the misconception is you can use for that alone. I am against that. Let me show you an example. Okay, so if I go to this class, here in the constructor, we can see that it's asking for you remote URL and some capabilities. I think this is the reason people think that we can use this for this remote execution only. But that is not true. If you see the source code, here we have so many constructor overloading, right? This is constructor overloading. Here we have a constructor with protected. Now I believe you know the meaning of protected, right? So obviously whenever class is going to extend this, they can use this constructor as well, right? Now if I go to the ChromeDriver class source code, here you can see that this is going to extend RemoteWebDriver, right? So obviously that constructor belongs can be accessed using the using the ChromeDriver object as well, right? Now to give you an example, I'm just going to create a parallel launching of browser. So here we can see that here I have add test and it is going to open the Google and it is going to open the letcode.in, right? Now if I go to my package explorer and if I create an XML for this, so I am using the test-ng here, so I'm going to create an XML and here I'm going to select the method and let me finish this. So yeah, so if I go and check this XML file, here we can see that RemoteWebDriver is my package name and parallel demo is my class name, and in parallel we are running this in methods. Okay, now if I run this, now you can see that two browsers are going to launch at the same time. Now based on this itself, you can understand that we can do the parallel execution locally using the RemoteWebDriver, of course with the help of test-ng, right? So mostly WebDriver used to do type downcasting so that we can use the same reference object, right? That is absolutely fine, nothing wrong about that. But here if you use like this is going to be optimize your code as well, and this is just not for running in parallel. There are so many benefits of using RemoteWebDriver. For example, if I call driver dot get screenshot as, you can call that directly, you need not to do any typecasting. Now for taking screenshot or to execute JavaScript code using execute script method, obviously we have to do so many typecasting, right? That is not needed at all. So using RemoteWebDriver, we can avoid that as well. For example, driver dot execute script, right? Yes, we can do that, nothing wrong about it. You can still do all the access. And also RemoteWebDriver has some few additional method as well comparing to your WebDriver, right? For example, here if I show you, see how many methods we are getting. You are getting like get file detector, which is used to upload files using the sendKiss method, using the local file detector classes. So we will get so many useful methods using this RemoteWebDriver object. But if I convert this into a WebDriver, let me do that. So when I do like this and let me import this, now here you can see that driver dot, here we are getting only few methods, right? This is an interface where it says that it has some protocol you have to follow. Now who is following this? Obviously RemoteWebDriver is following this. And now each and every classes are extending to remote WebDriver. So why to use WebDriver? Why not remote WebDriver? Okay, I believe this makes the conception clear. But this is not enough, right? Because whatever we are going to run, this is working fine. Then why we have to focus on remote WebDriver? Now the actual thing comes in, that is your performance. So here if I show you this, here it clearly says that whenever you are going to use interface, this is obviously going to slow down your code. Not that much, but of course comparing to your interfaces and your classes, classes are faster. I hope you getting my point. Okay, and if I show you this section, James Gosling, who is the inventor of Java, he says that if he get another chance to do Java again, he will leave out classes. That is because real problem wasn't classes, but rather implementation inheritance, right? Because we know that in Java we cannot achieve multiple inheritance, where multi-level inheritance is possible. I agreed, and this is how Java works. But why we have to use interface? Because we can avoid the multiple inheritance problem using the interface, right? But we already have a class which has implemented all others interfaces as well. So why not to use the remote WebDriver, and why we have to still stick with the WebDriver? Okay, I hope this makes sense to you, and if you agree with me, you can give me a like and subscribe to my channel. If you don't agree with me, probably you can ask me, or maybe you can give me your thoughts as well. So here we are everyone to learning, and please don't mistake me that I'm saying whatever you have learned so far or whatever you have taught to someone is wrong. That is absolutely fine. Whatever we are using still now, WebDriver, that is absolutely fine, nothing wrong about it. What I'm trying to say is there is always a better approach to do in programming. Now if you take in Java, and there are so many blogs and so many videos as referred to, that you can use the interface if there is no implementation. If you have the implementation, then go with the class. Okay, so as usual, thanks for watching. See you in the next video very soon. Bye bye, take care, stay home, stay safe.